Okay, so let's imagine for a second. It's 1854, you're in New York City.
Oh, the Crystal Palace exhibition.
You got it. And there's this buzz in the air, right? So many incredible things to see.
A real showcase of the era's innovation.
And in the middle of all this excitement, the crowds gather. All eyes are on this platform suspended high above the ground.
Must have been quite a sight.
There's a man standing on it, looking totally calm. He signals, and suddenly, snap! A rope's cut. The platform drops.
Gasp. I can practically hear the crowd.
Right. But just as everyone thinks the worst, it stops. Jerks to a halt just a few feet down.
Wow.
And the man, completely unfazed, he looks out and says, "All safe, gentlemen."
That's Elisha Otis we're talking about, isn't it?
The one and only. And that wasn't just some showman's trick. It was a turning point, a moment that made skyscrapers possible.
It's amazing how that one scene just captures a fear, a very primal fear people had. I mean, think about it. We hop in elevators all the time, don't even think twice. But what if buildings could only be a few stories high? How different would our world be? Our cities, our lives?
It'd be a whole different ballgame. And that's exactly what we're digging into in this deep dive. We've been exploring Elisha Otis's story, how his invention changed everything.
A real ripple effect through history.
Exactly. So our goal here is to understand how this guy, just a regular guy from a farm, came up with something so simple but so brilliant. Not only did he make things safer, he literally reshaped the world.
And I bet there were some twists and turns along the way.
Oh, you better believe it. It wasn't all smooth sailing to the top. But let's start at the beginning. Elisha Otis was born in Vermont back in 1811. Your typical humble farm boy, as they say. Nothing to really suggest he'd be this huge innovator.
No silver spoon or anything?
Yep. And to make things tougher, life threw him some curveballs early on. He tried carpentry, but had to quit because of his health. Then, tragically, his wife passed away, leaving him with 2 young sons to raise on his own.
It makes you think about the strength it took to just keep going after all that.
Talk about resilience. But fast forward to 1852, and Otis is a master mechanic. Now, back then, factories were using these simple hoists to move heavy stuff around.
Dangerous business.
Oh, yeah, ropes snapping, accidents waiting to happen. But here's what's interesting. Instead of accepting that risk, Otis saw it as a problem that needed a solution.
A real opportunity, he must thought.
Exactly. And he didn't just try to improve the ropes or anything. He realized the real issue was the rope breaking in the first place. So he came up with something completely new, a safety brake that would kick in if the rope failed.
There had to be a moment, that spark of an idea.
Oh, for sure. And it was brilliant in its simplicity. If the rope snapped, these spring-loaded ratchets would instantly grab onto teeth along the shaft, stopping the whole thing from falling.
Ingenious.
Right. But as we said before, having a great idea is one thing. Convincing people, especially back then, that it's safe, that's another story entirely.
Think about it. Back then, people weren't used to being lifted up high in these contraptions.
Yeah. And this is where Otis's understanding of human nature comes in. He knew he needed a dramatic demonstration, something that would stick in people's minds.
Uh-huh. Hence the Crystal Palace.
You got it. It was the perfect stage, huge crowds, a real spectacle, and he gave them a show they'd never forget.
I'm picturing it now, the anticipation.
Total silence as Otis ascends on the platform. Then the signal's given, the rope's cut, and everyone watches as it starts to fall.
Hearts must have stopped.
Then bang, that sudden stop. Otis just stands there, calm as can be, and says, "All safe, gentlemen." It wasn't just about the mechanics, it was a performance. He shifted how people saw elevators. No longer a death trap, but maybe something essential.
It's funny, right? Because in the mid-1800s, these vertical railways, as they call them, were mostly for moving freight, not people.
Right. Can you imagine the anxiety about riding in one?
Otis's demonstration changed the narrative, though. It was like, see, safe and sound.
Exactly. But here's where things take an unexpected turn. Even after that incredible success, Otis's company, it struggled. By 1858, they were practically bankrupt.
Seriously?
It just goes to show a brilliant invention doesn't always equal business success.
There's a lot more to it than just the tech, right?
Yeah.
Marketing, sales, the whole 9 yards.
And in Otis's case, there's this entry in his son's journal. It talks about profits going up, but then adds, "Father will manage in such a way as to lose it all."
Oh, wow. So maybe he wasn't the best businessman.
It seems that way. A bit of a tragic irony, this genius inventor who maybe couldn't quite handle the business side of things makes you think, right? We all know talented people whose ideas never quite take off.
It's a reminder, that you need more than just a good idea to succeed. You need the whole package.
And sadly, Elisha Otis didn't live to see just how big his invention would become. He passed away in 1861. Left behind more debts than assets, actually.
Really?
Ironic, considering how much wealth his invention generated eventually and how it changed cities around the world.
It's his sons who really made the Otis Elevator Company into what it is today. They took his vision and ran with it.
And what a vision it was. Ready for a mind-blowing stat. Otis elevators today carry the equivalent of the world's entire population every 3 days.
Whoa!
Let that sink in. Every time you ride an elevator, you're part of this huge story that began with that dramatic drop back in 1854.
Full circle. That calculated risk, cutting that rope, it sparked a change that affects how we live and work in cities.
Skyscrapers, the symbols of modern cities, wouldn't exist without Otis.
It'd just be impractical.
Exactly. But let's not forget, even success stories this big have their complexities. The sources we looked at mentioned some controversies over the years. Accidents, safety concerns, even a big fine in Europe for price fixing.
It's a reminder that progress isn't always a straight line, or a perfectly clean one.
And it shows the responsibility that comes with success, especially in something like this. Safety has to come first.
Absolutely. You got to keep those standards high and operate ethically, or you lose people's trust.
So looking back at Elisha Otis's journey, what are the big takeaways? What can we learn from him?
Well, for me, it really highlights how powerful a single idea can be. Otis wasn't thinking about changing skylines. He just wanted to make factories safer. And look what happened.
Right. He had that focus and determination, and it changed the world.
And think about his persistence. He had setbacks, personal tragedy, business struggles, but he kept going.
Exactly. He didn't give up. That's a lesson for all of us.
He also knew how to make a statement. The Crystal Palace demonstration wasn't just a test, it was theater. It made people believe.
Early marketing genius.
Right. He built trust in a way that words couldn't. And finally, it shows that your work can have an impact far beyond your lifetime. Otis died before seeing the full effects of his invention.
Amazing to think about. So I want to leave you with this. What problem in your world, big or small, are you uniquely positioned to solve? What idea are you maybe holding back on?
Maybe it's time to take that idea seriously.
Every time you step into an elevator, remember that feeling of that moment at the Crystal Palace. Remember Elisha Otis's boldness and his vision.
And think about all the unseen stories of innovation all around us. Those Elisha Otises working on things that might just change everything. Who knows? Maybe one of them is you.
Maybe it is.
You never know the impact you might have.
Until next time.
Take care.